Christine Hussey, and I'm sure we'll see more roll in, but here's what we
Yeah,
got so far.
Mario Musso has been like slacking on his training because it's cold up in Barry's Bay, so he doesn't
Oh
like to go in
God.
his garage and train like he normally does.
It's 50
Unbelievable.
degrees Fahrenheit down here.
Anyway, Sean, let's go.
Thanks, Sensei. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Punch Kick Choke Chat. My name is Sean Benson. I'm one of your hosts. I'm so excited about this show. It's our last show of 2025. It is our host chat, which I always love. We always love that. You get to be a part of that. We'll get to that in a little bit. But also, ending 2025, we started this in 2020. I mean, we are well in our fifth year, and I don't know what the exact anniversary date is, but it's incredible that we've just been rolling. And it's thanks to you all who are here with us. And, we're going to do slightly longer introductions tonight because when we have our guests, we like to introduce each other quickly. And I have the pleasure tonight of introducing my sensei, Sensei Randy Dauphin. I met him in 1993. I was a white belt. I've told this story before. I'm not sure on the show, but he just walked up to me very early on. He asked me something I'd never pondered. And I think it's something everybody should be asked by a senior in the club. And he just said, "Do you consider yourself a serious martial artist?" And I had never thought about it, but I didn't need to think about it. I was already in. I just said yes. And then he gave me a little lesson about club decorum. And the lesson wasn't the point, it was the caring. It was, I've seen you, you seem focused. And I was. And it wasn't much longer. A few years later, he became my sensei. And I got to say, we haven't lived in the same city for a long time, but there's no other martial artist I've spent more time in front of and learned more from. And that's never going to change, no matter how much I train with other people. And I just want to say thanks for that. And he's not going to like this, but this is our first live show since he's been awarded his eighth degree black belt in Legacy Shorin-ryu Karate Jitsu. And I mean, I'm biased, but I can't think of a recommendation I've seen and a grading I've seen that makes more sense. And I'm just so honored to be behind him on this path. If you have a teacher like I have in Sensei Dauphin, you have a concrete path laid out in front of you. Some people need to get out a machete and create something. I just have to follow along in something that's too broad for me to even take in, and I just get to spend my life trying to do it. So I just want to say I'm so proud of you, Sensei. I'm so grateful to be your student, your friend, your brother, and I'll throw it to you.
Thanks so much, Sean. I appreciate that. And I'm really happy that you didn't forget how to do the intro since you've been away for so long from the show. So thank you for nailing it
I
100%.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I get to introduce Sensei Suino. I probably am going to chip in on everybody, whether anybody likes it or not, but I get to introduce Sensei Suino. So cool, right? It's just so cool to have relationships where what did I do on Friday? I taught a class, then I got in my car with Andrew Percival and Sydney Dauphin, and I drove for 3.5 hours to Ann Arbor. I punched the garage. I dropped those other two knuckleheads off somewhere, and then I punched the garage code into Sensino's house. The garage door opened. I walked in, and he said, "Hey, good news! You got here just in time for me to go to bed." And then he gave me a hug, and he went to bed, and I went downstairs and went to bed. And then the next day I did 2 hours of Iaido, which I absolutely loved. The Iaido was like amazing. We did an hour of fighting and an hour of rolling. Went out, had an awesome steak. Since Suino spends way too much money on dinners, I'm just way too much money. Like if I was his financial advisor, I'd be like, stop doing that. Stop buying everybody at the table dinners. But he lives this life of when you have abundance, you share it with people. And so he did that. Next morning, I got up. I was literally with him for, I don't know, 30 hours, got up, took off and drove to Ottawa to do a conference. And I just want to say thanks, Sensino, for being a landing pad and a good training teacher and a person that we can just show up in your place and you just open the door, feed us, let us sleep, water us, let us use your shower, and everybody gets some benefit. And then we move on and wash, rinse, repeat. Thank you, Sensino.
Thanks for coming down. It was super fun. Great opportunity. And that is a great segue into me introducing Hanshi Legacy, who I've known since, I don't know, around 1990, 1991. And And Hachi Legacy is the reason we're all here on this call today, and why the whole show exists. And Hachi, your presence hangs over our training whenever we do it, especially when we do karate training. So when Sensei Dauphin was down, it was kind of a holiday training. All we really did was fight for an hour. He made a few comments here and there, kicked me in the head a few times, uh, which was lovely. But I feel your Hachi, I feel your presence. I feel your presence in those workouts and everything we do together. I'm so excited. So looking forward to Practical Fighting Camp, which is coming up on January 17th. And gosh, just everything descends from that. So everybody knows Hachi Legacy is the 10th down at karate. He's been one of the leaders of heritage karate in Canada for many decades. And I hope we all do this for many more decades together. Looking forward to this conversation very much.
Hey, Sensei, why don't you say a couple things about Sensei Legacy? Why don't you say a couple things about Ben's, and then I'm gonna jump back in on this kumbaya session.
You know, he's sort of a laid back guy. Like he doesn't stand out in front very often, but when he comes to doing his martial arts, he's a very good, unassuming. But he's a good fighter. He's a good kata person, um, and he knows his martial arts. I haven't trained with him like on the dojo floor very much as of late because he just goes and trains at your place. But um, during the time that I've been, well, we've fought at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning a couple of times in Los Angeles, California, and just came out of there wringing wet. Nobody was better than anyone else. It was just some good training, and he stood there and he held his own ground. So he's an excellent martial artist.
Thanks, Hanchi.
Yeah, before we move on, Benz, I'm just gonna say, you always say about like following along, but I'm really happy now that in a different martial art, like I'm getting to learn a lot of stuff from you. Like in Sean's a great karate person. He's better at karate than anything else that I know that he does. Maybe even better than acting. To be honest with you, he might be better at karate than acting. He's definitely done karate longer than he's act, so that's one thing. He's gotten really good over the years, just quietly at BJJ. He just, he acts and he has to take breaks, and then he goes back and he just, as Tan Sensei would say, Benson's really good at delivering the body. He just delivers the body and then is happy to let whoever the instructor is of the class do what they do, and he follows along with that. And I'm really proud to have just been in your life, Sean, and seen all the ups and downs and all the stuff. So I'm really proud of that. I also want to say about Sense Legacy, um, I'm not sure, like I have so many really important relationships in my life, but Sense Legacy, that relationship, he's now surpassed both my mom and my dad. Like he's literally been in my life longer than my biological parents, like literally. Like, and I was thinking about it tonight as I was training. I was thinking, I remember the first day I said to him, "Hey, Sensei, I'm going to be a dad." We were in the YWCA and he was standing at the top of the stairs and he like, yay! And he like jumped 3 stairs and I like caught him in my arms. And, um, I remember the first time I ever got on an airplane was with Sense Legacy. Literally, I'd never been on an airplane, and I wasn't actually with him because they held him back. And as I was getting on a flight and I was ready to kill everybody, he was like, "Just get on the flight. You're gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be fine." But that was the first time I went on a trip on an airplane. Um, I've been to Japan with him, Venezuela, Panama, Dominican Republic, all over the United States. We've probably trained together in, I don't know, like 150 different dojos. Um, I've been Izuke. I don't know how many thousands of hours we've sparred together, but where I'm going with this is there's nothing that can ever replace any of that. Nothing can replace that. There's no amount of money, there's no accolades, there's no rank, there's no anything that somebody could say to me, "Hey, trade this for that." It's never going to happen. I couldn't trade it ever for anything. And then you got Sensi Svino, who's been brought Sensi Legacy brought him into this our ragtag tough group of people, and he just fits in perfectly with everybody on this show and off of this show. I remember, I don't know, it was a year or so ago. I think it was Idle Camp, and everybody was staying here. People were sleeping on couches and in different rooms. And I came downstairs in the morning, and nobody was up except for Sense Legacy and Sense Suino, and they were just sitting on my sofa talking about martial arts and aliens and like all kinds of stuff. And I was just so happy to come downstairs and see these two guys like sharing this moment in my house. So like when we do this show, it's so much fun for me. I just love it. It's much more than I don't know. We could have done anything for 5 years and made probably millions of dollars more, but we've chosen to do this and made nothing other than like great relationships and helped a lot of people. And I really love what we've been doing. And I love all of this group of people. And I hope we can do it for another 5 or 10 years or longer.
Um, I do just we're doing this, so I just want to say a quick thing about Hanchi Legacy before I get a little more to the intro. You know, I was thinking about this, like when you're 18 and you hear a little bit of wisdom you've never heard, it might not be great, right? You're just 18. But the thing with Hanchi is I heard a certain type of wisdom at age 18 and it's never faded. There's never that clean sentence that comes out now. And I think I've gathered a little bit of wisdom over the years through life experience that I couldn't have imagined at 18, and still to be led sometimes by single sentences. And I just want to say that because, sometimes the emperor has no clothes, and sometimes you realize, oh shit, like they're robed in utter wisdom, like gold spun wisdom. And I just want to say that because it's never faded, it's only deepened. Um, and Sensei Olfan said about ups and downs, a lot of them are bigger, broad scope things he's referring to. But, I just had a death in the family, and that's why I haven't been on the show for almost a month. I had to go to France, and it was very deep and very beautiful in all the ways that anyone who's experienced death understands. But thanks to you for keeping this running. Like we have a show that's a team, it's no one individual. And I just want to say thanks for that because I hate being away. I had to be, but I really appreciate it. Hey, everybody watching, you're the reason this show exists. We're thanking each other. But I want to say that tonight, if you're with us on our live Zoom channel, that means you get to be a part of the host chat. Because when you ask a question normally of a guest, we see it in the comments. But tonight, we'll see that you want to ask a question and we'll bring you on camera, assuming you want to. We'd love you to. And it really fleshes out what the host chat becomes. So there's a chat button in the bottom that's lit up. And we'd love for you to say, hey, I got a question. You don't need to vet it before. If you're a friend of the show, we know it's not going to be rat shit. And it'd be a real pleasure to chat with you. And for anybody watching on YouTube who's not in real time or watching on the podcast, we love that you're here too. And enjoy whatever you're doing while you're listening. We're super happy you're here. So who's got our first topic for tonight?
Sensei Icy sent me a question.
Oops.
You remember, Sensei, do you want to ask it or do you want me to ask it on your
You
behalf?
go ahead. You go ahead. Doesn't matter who asks.
Okay. So the question was, does the threat of war prompt peace or cause/keep peace? Yeah, I mean, that's a brain buster, and I've had time to think about it longer, but I'm still not going to answer first, right? So I'll repeat the question again. Does the threat of war, which it's ever present in our society today, prompt peace? Does it keep the peace or cause keep peace? Right? So what do we think about that? Sean, I'll put you on the spot first.
This is timely. I was working with a martial artist today who's high ranked and global level, and he was talking about another martial artist chirping him. And he just turned and was like, hey, can you chill a bit? This was at a tournament. And the other guy was like, yeah, 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 respect, respect, respect. And what this coach I was working with today was telling me is whenever those two have that interaction, whenever he just faces him and goes, hey, pipe her down, the other guy just goes, yeah, 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 respect, respect. And so in that case, in a mini scale, The threat of war actually causes peace. The idea that the one guy turns and goes, I will look at you directly and address this as directly as you like, leads the other person to create a peace. And I do think that there is, there's a line in Point Break, unironically, one of my favorite movies, where Patrick Swayze says, peace through superior firepower. And we saw that with Russia in the 80s. I mean, the Cold War was ended through escalation. I think that sometimes the lack of a threat of war leads to too much discontentment. If we look at online discourse, too many people don't have to face a consequence for what they say. And therefore, it actually spreads more crap. Versus if someone goes toe to toe and is willing to go, do you want to take this outside? The other person kind of has to step up. Yeah, that could be crappy. Or go, no, what are the new terms? And either it's an energetic or maybe a country to country treaty. I actually think the threat of war can create more peace if I'm put on the spot and I have to answer from my gut.
Don't disagree. Sensino, what do you think?
Well, I think we might have to roll.
Faces, you like held your breath.
Yeah,
I
we
was
might have to.
blocking you while I was talking. I was like, is he doing that to me or the question?
Yeah, right. Sean, your answer's stupid.
This
Yeah.
is the worst thing.
Shit. No, I think we might have to go around a couple times because there's different scales for this, right? There's a whole, if we're just talking about, you're walking around living life in your town or, the classic, like you go into a bar and there are people with the chip on their shoulder with beer muscles. Um, unless their senses have almost left them, they're not gonna pick a fight with the guy with the biggest muscles and the calmest demeanor in there. Now they will if they're drunk and stupid. And there's sort of an analogy there to like international warfare, right? You're not gonna if you're the Dominican Republic, you're not and I'm not picking on them, they're a small country. You're not gonna come and fight the United States, right? The United States has got big muscles and it would be a huge mistake. But if your leader, if your ruler has lost his marbles, like the guy drinking in the bar, right? He might see that big muscly guy that looks calm over there and say, you know what, that's the target for me, right? Because I'm the one, right? When we start fighting, I'm going to see red and I'm going to win this fight. So there's a lot of analogies, I think, between kind of the bar fight. I'm not even going to the dojo or the competition ring yet, but a lot of analogies between the bar fight and international warfare that we might explore. I want to listen to some other answers before I further opine on this particular topic.
Well, since Lacey, we'll give you the last. I'll chime in now. I think the threat of war only keeps peace for a limited amount of time. Eventually, if there's two people who want to get at it, they're going to get at it. Like that's just it. I mean, bar missiles, drink, whatever you want to say. Um, Eventually, if two people don't like each other and they have a skill set, they're going to get at it. And so that threat of war can only keep peace for so amount of time. Then I think the flip side is the once the wars happened through history, unrepeated, there has been long periods of peace. Once the two people get at it and figure it out, and I mean, you could take this to like I got in fights in grade school and high school, and those people became my best friends after we figured it out. We figured out who was the one that was going to tell the other one what to do and who was going to follow, right? And then you can look at like the Tokugawa shogunate after World War One, after World War Two, like look at whatever war you want. After it was done, there was a long period of peace and prosperity before people then forgot. They forgot who kicked somebody's ass, and then there was do you want to fight? I'm not sure if I want to fight. I'm just going to be quiet over here. You put your finger on my chest. And so the threat of war, I think maybe doesn't cause peace. It causes some posturing that lengthens the time before the fight actually happens. But if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. That's my my thought on it. And then you figure it out after that. Sensei, what do you think? Is your question.
Yeah, but it is the war that calms everything down. Uh, I'll just go on a different level. I'll just say, like Dominican Republic, for instance, while there was some type of law in Haiti or some type of government or rule which um, shows some type of promise of being able to take control of everything and keep things at peace, when once they've lost that, when that threat, then it was taken over by just gangs and things like that, right? And so they keep their control by way of war, right? Scaring everybody else off. So another way of looking at it to me was like police officers, they practice um, you practice war during peacetime, like now, or you practice self-defense and martial arts now, so that when that war or that conflict comes together, you're liable to use that to make you have to defend yourself. So you sort of make sure the other person, like you said, whoever wins then makes everybody calm down. The rule may go in their direction, but I think the threat of having to face something often scares, I'd say, probably the majority of conflicts to be peaceful. Like uh, on a lighter side, um, I had this guy cut out in front of me one time, and he gave me the finger and cut me off and stopped me in the middle of the street. He got out of his car, slammed the door, and ran up to my door. He went, "Holy!" And then he looked at me, and one of his kids was one of my students. I said, "You better get back in your truck." He got in his truck and left. So I think that, for example, is a threat of something happening, of war. So I was just curious in what everybody else thought.
Well, I just want to chip in on this because a lot of these stories add an element of like a mediator, right? So, like, if two, and I agree with Sensei Dofan, if two individuals are out and they're alone and they want to get at it, they will. But somebody's got a buddy, or in that case, Hanshi, that guy's got a kid. Or in the Cuban Missile Crisis, you've got ministers going, "Hey, Khrushchev, hey, Kennedy, like, we don't have to do this. Like, we'll talk over here. You guys can be tough, and then it'll not have to happen." And this goes a bit to what you talked about, I think, Sensei Suino. It's not a specific idea, but the idea that things can get reshaped before it has to come to that specific head. So it's about to happen, and then the buddies come in and go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, you're drunk, you're whatever, chill it out." And maybe you do have the threat of war, but you also have the friends who don't want the war even more than the two who do, going, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." And what you're talking about, Sensei Suino, with like a government where somebody goes a little bonkers, you hope there's some mediators in there. There'll always be a war hawk who's like, "You're on the right track, sir." But most people are going to be like, "Can we maybe, like, is there an act somewhere that we can just diminish this guy's power a little?" And I do think, I don't know if that delay is a good or bad thing, because as we've been talking about, after war, there is a reckoning that might not always be the worst. It's a weird thing to say, but I do think it can sometimes get prolonged indefinitely within a certain epoch by mediators.
Sean, that sounds like to me one person wants to get at it and the other one actually doesn't. So they're like, "Hey, Ben, hold me back. I'm gonna go at this guy, but hold me back. Like, hold me back, right? Because I don't actually really want to do this,
I
right?"
love that. Yeah.
Whereas when you really want to get at it, like sadly, I've had a person stand in front of me once and say, blah, blah, blah. And I said, "You probably just want to get out of my way right now. Like, it's in your best interest to just step aside and not try and talk me out of this. I'm not looking for anybody to hold me back."
Right.
Right. And I think that's what we're talking about mostly, right? Not mediators, not the chit chat. It's like, no, now it's go time, right? Um, And if you don't really want to go, then you might bluff your way all the way up to the starting line and then back away really quick, which is what Sense Legacy was talking about, right? You're flipping the finger off and you're feeling really good until you recognize the muscle on the person, and then you're like, never mind, right? Like,
But that seems really hard for governments to do. I mean, I've had that happen in my life so many times where someone threatens you in a car or some other situation, and then your neighbor goes, "Holy fuck, that guy teaches martial arts, right?" Or just something, right? And they back off. But man, when a country invades another country, and then the invaded country just comes up with big stuff, it's really hard for them to look at what's going on with Ukraine right now. Like, you can't convince, but not that he's getting overwhelmed with contrary force, but the world's pretty much against him. And he's gonna have to lose a lot of face if he just walks away from that battle. Right? It seems like easier for, stakes are much lower, I guess. Easier for someone to walk away from a bar fight than it is to walk away from international conflict. But this begs the other question, and that is, what do you do? We're talking kind of about the aggressor. Like if you present as a very strong nation or strong human, some people are going to go, not messing with you, man. But the person that chooses to mess with you, what about our side of it? Let's say we're on the side of all that is good and right in the world, and we don't initiate fights, but once they start, we're let's talk a little bit about that next step, right? What are the circumstances that lead you to go, okay, you started it, right? I'm going to finish it, or try to moderate it. Hey, man, this is a stupid idea, or do a Crocodile Dundee where you embarrass the guy and gently put him on the ground and get him to calm down, right?
so
Pick
who do you
who
want
you
to
want
ask
to go
that?
in.
Randy, yeah. What about that situation? You're not the aggressor. You're the responder. What circumstances lead you to go, I'm going right back at you, or let's cool this conflict off.
Well, the weirdest thing you said was that I wasn't the aggressor, but
This is a theoretical conversation.
It's an imaginary number.
yeah. Um, I have a lot of like random thoughts, which maybe I can spin into something coherent,
Let us
but
have them.
um, I tell my students all the time the most serious opponent you need to, like, the most serious threat is the one that faces you, and you can't predict what that is. So if somebody's willing to put their toe on the line and step up to you, I don't know. I feel like you got to kind of take that with a heightened level of seriousness. You could say, oh, it's a 12-year-old kid, and then they pull a gun out and shoot you, right? Oh, it's only if
That's why
they're
you hit them first when they're 12.
right. If they're willing to, right, if they're willing to engage you, then you have to be willing to like engage back with like a higher burning fire. Let's just say it that way. Like, your fire has to burn hotter than the other person's fire once it starts. Like I know a good friend of mine who, and it's gonna sound funny, and people are gonna armchair quarterback this, but I actually think he did the right thing. But he pepper sprayed an old woman. Like he was a young person, fully capable martial artist, and he pepper sprayed an old woman. And listen, that old bitch deserved it. Like if I was in the same situation, I would have pepper sprayed her too, or maybe like kicked her or punched her because there's a lot of circumstances that were around that. And she stepped up. He didn't instigate it. She did. Right. So I don't know. But I also am a big proponent. A good lesson I learned, which has served me well, is just don't run this thing, right? Like just don't run your mouth. Just be quiet and say less. And then you have nothing to regret when they step up and you step up to the line. You didn't, there was nothing you said to instigate it. They did all the shit and you just got to put the period on the sentence, right? So I don't know. That's my random thoughts to your question.
Hachi, what do you think? If someone else is the aggressor, what are the circumstances that lead you to think, okay, I'm going to give it back to you times 10, or I'm going to try to cool this off and walk away?
Yeah, well, um, one thing is you have to figure out when the fight has started, right? So do you need to stand there and have somebody stab you before you think the fight has started? If a guy pulls a weapon or he says, you're going to kick your ass or I'm going to stab you, the fight has already started, right? So the thing that you're trying to do is to really, on a martial artist's view of them from a martial artist, is that you're trying to limit casualties, even in war, right? So if somebody is trying to hurt you and he's trying to stab you or something, the shorter the fight is, the less of a chance you have of getting hurt. So when you're figured that the fight is already started, whether it's not physically or not, and the person steps forward and you knock him out, I don't know how the police would look at that, but I think that they would realize that, because they're in the same situation quite often where they go into some home to defend someone or somebody who's gone crazy, that the fight has already started before they even get there. So it's the same thing with like the United States and another country. I just don't want to talk about it. I'm not taking sides or anything. And they invaded the United States and they just dropped bombs on them and stopped it. It caused a lot of casualty, but they weren't intended to hit their nation, and they would have caused a lot of more casualties on their side. So war is ugly, but sometimes it's necessary. We're trading. When you play with fire, you get burned, so to speak. It's pretty dangerous.
For sure. Sean, where do you want to go with this?
For me, it's really simple, and I think it applies to both a personal and a country kind of level. Is like, can I run the math? Like, I got a lot to lose. I got a great life. So if somebody steps up and is like, I'm going to kill you, and I can just back up a little, that's just done already. And I don't have to, like, if that person turns their weapon in another direction, I don't know if that's totally my business. I don't know, because there's the story in the Weaponless Warriors about the guy who takes the beating so the other people don't have to. Like, I'm not sure. It depends on the moment if I'm that guy or not. So the math comes down to what's the cost, what's the gain, right? If somebody's an aggressor and there's nowhere to go, period, has to be dealt with. If somebody's an aggressor and it creates a slight shift in a dynamic, but that's better than, a million people or me losing my teeth, like, I'm just not sure. One guy comes onto me on the street, yeah, we'll do that. Five guys, one of them's got his hand in his pocket. Maybe it's better to ease out of that and lose that moment. And I don't know when it comes to a country how you do that. Like, do you cede territory? I don't know. Like, is that better to give up a peninsula than because at what point does the aggressor stop? So does a mini survival beat an utter annihilation or subjugation? I can't answer that, but I can say that I would just do the best math I could with the best information I had, and it's either go time or walk away time.
That's right.
I think you'd fight really hard if you're like 30 and somebody says, I want your peninsula, and it's their circumcision. You're going to fight at that point. Right? You're going to do the math pretty quick.
That's the math. On that note, we're going to bring in Big Al Panacchia, who's got a question for us, and we get to see his beautiful face as a super friend of the show.
You're muted, Sensei. There we go.
Testing, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Sensei.
Wait, I muted him. So
Jeez, thanks a lot. Now he's going to fight you.
Yeah, you guys are going global, and I'm going to concentrate more just on the martial arts per se.
dude, bring us back. Bring us back to reality, Sensei.
Yeah, and the first thing I'd say is congratulations on another year. And, personally, I enjoy the show. Different people give me different perspectives. And I see places or I hear things that I never get to, so I learn from everybody else's experiences. With me teaching a lot, I've kind of come across a couple of comments or things that might be interesting for discussion. And the first one was some people learn the kata, but they don't hear the music. And when you're teaching, sometimes you can see the person does the moves, but there's just no understanding. And at least in judo, a lot of our katas are two-person katas, and we both need to be on the same wavelength or on the same 33 and a third or the 45 or the 78 speed. And I just see that sometimes, and it's like, how can we make this person understand the same way that, maybe I understand? Or we need to try and understand what they're doing and bring them around. That's the first one. The second one, and this was a karate quote off of Facebook, and the guy says, teach them the kata, and later on they'll understand. And that kind of brings me back to when Chuck Merriman was on and how he was saying, like, the Japanese people just how, and in Okinawa, it's why. And again, I think if you're teaching and you have a variety of different students and backgrounds, sometimes, yeah, here's the movement, but it's going to take a long time to understand. And even where I'm at, I'm still trying to understand some of this stuff. I'm still trying to understand these katas that were started in the late 1800s or early 1900s. And I think I'm at a different understanding now than I was 30 years ago. And again, when we teach, I think I'm at a point, and like Francis Glaze and stuff, that we're trying to give you the why also, but you got a whole lot of just do it first. And let's see the last one, and this one I kind of made up myself. When we're talking about testing and you ask for a specific technique and they do something different, as a teacher, can we understand what's going on? And I like to say, we're in the same neighborhood, now we got to get them to the right address. And again, we guide them on to this is how it really should be done. Not what you're doing is acceptable, but if we're going to be specific, and again, nomenclature means a lot, um, at least where I'm coming from now, because certain things we called way back when, and Nick would understand possibly what we always called Suryotoshi is not Suryotoshi. It's it's Surinagi with the wide stance or whatever. But we always said, oh, because it looked like Taitoshi and you used your arms, it's Suryotoshi, and that's not the way it is, or that's not the general understanding. So I kind of throw that out there, and I think some of it relates to all the martial arts, and depending on what your background is.
Who do you want to respond first, Sensei?
Hanshi can go first. I mean, he's the head Hanshi, right?
I'm just gonna wait for a minute because I'm not sure I caught all that.
Oh,
I don't know why, but so could
Okay.
you somebody else?
I'm gonna jump in, Sensei Panekia, because I had the luxury of you sending me the question a few hours ago, so I was able to think about it a little bit. And so when you're talking about the dance of the kata, I think most people, especially in the karate world, they never get out of that dance. They just, scream and stomp their way through katas, and they have really nice kicks and blocks, but it's kind of meaningless, really. Like in the end, there's not much. But what I would also say is I think that's where you need to start, right? Like I think if you can't read English, it's hard to understand philosophy, right? So if you can't do kicks and punches, it's really hard to think about what the bunkai is. But I will say to you that I think bunkai came first and kata came second. Like I don't think it was you know, in my mind, generally speaking, not talking about pinyan katas or things like that, but like if you're talking about a kata like Kusenku or Chinto in the karate realm or Seonchin, that was somebody trying to remember techniques that they were taught. So they systemized it and put it into something kind of like a living journal, like a physical journal that they could remember things. That's, but I think nowadays you have to go through kicking and punching and learning that. And then it, as Hanshi Merriman said, then it does come. Like eventually, like today I often think of Bunkai, like I do a movement and I'm like, or a self-defense, and I'm like, well, that's right out of this kata. Like I can apply it back to those techniques specifically for me, right? Um, so how do you get them there? I think it's a good teacher. You got to have a good teacher. Like you can't, like somebody has to actually know the thing in order to explain to you, like to your point about like how do you get them to the right address? Somebody needs to know the address, right? Like it's pretty hard to give them directions to a place that you don't know how to get to, right? Um so that's a more simple answer, but I think like a person like you or Sensei Glaze, when it comes to judo kata, you know the address and you know how to tell people how to get there. You also know you would know very quickly if they have good technique or they don't have good technique. And you're like, I can't actually teach you how to apply this because you don't know how to put your feet in the right spot. You don't have the right grips. Your balance point is not in the right place. So I don't know that I'm really answering your question specifically, but these are the thoughts that I have when you're asking the question. And I'll just finish before we send it to somebody else by saying, at least in the karate realm, sadly, too many people just they just do the dance and they never hear the music, right? They just kick and punch their way and it looks really nice. But if you ask them, what are you doing there? Here's a human. Show me what you're going to do against. They couldn't do it, sadly.
Thanks.
Who's going next?
Am I asking or
Yeah, you can either ask Sensei or somebody can just be brave enough to step forward and start.
let's see who's brave enough.
Well, I'm brave enough. I want to take it in a little bit of different direction and just talk about the complex different directions that kata can go in. So, when we think of kata as a performance, we're looking for a certain thing, right? You're looking for, of course, the techniques to be done well, balance, a certain, you know, vibe or beauty to it. Um, but whether it's judo kata or karate kata, there's so many levels of teaching that go on, which is why you have to do them for so long. Yeah, you're learning the moves, right? You learn, okay, I turn, I do a middle block, I do a punch, whatever it might be. I take 3 steps back, I drop to one knee, and I throw the guy with uki-otoshi. Those are the moves you're learning, the step by step. I put my foot here, I do this with my hand. You're also training nervous system to be aware of the interaction, right? In judo, you're feeling the other person. You're feeling when you've got their balance and when you throw them. In karate, positionally, right? You're understanding where you are relative to them, distance, timing. There's a vast number of things you teach. You learn from doing kata over an extended period of time, and uh, and you know hearing the music or however you want to describe it, it's just that you have internalized enough of those things that when you do the thing, you have an intelligent weaving together of all the different factors. But on a given day, your teacher would come to you and go, "Yeah, screw all that. I just want to see really good position. Next day, I want to make sure you're breathing right. Next day, I want to make sure your balance is right. Next day, I want to see timing, right? That they're teaching tools that have so many different angles, so 360 degrees of angle on a kata. And yeah, the music is in there, um, but it doesn't mean that you should ignore the pieces, even if you have understood the music, it doesn't mean you should ignore the pieces because each piece is so valuable as you learn, as I said, over 10, 20, 30, 40 years.
And that famous Rai is the demonstration, the kata demonstrates the actual principle you want demonstrated.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sensei, for me, I love this idea of kata as music because of rhythm and because of, without silence, there's no impact to, all that kind of thing. It's so important. And on a really basic level, talking about how to impart that, I know for me, when I've made mistakes with students, it's when I don't do it with them enough. If I'm not playing the thing they get to play along with, like even on the racetrack with cars, you lead cars for a while and then you speed up a little and then you speed up a little. And that's how they find the line. And that's how they see when the brake lights go on. And if you just tell them, it can have a bit of a disconnect. So for me, it's playing it for them, playing it with them, and teaching them along the way, making sure they can technically handle all this stuff. And then the answer for me to your next two questions about the why, or also, how you get that right address, that really is, and it's been addressed a lot, is time. There's no way someone can know the why before they don't know which way their foot's moving or what that thing's supposed to sound like. And there's no way that they can truly inhabit all the possible bunkai, multiple layers of it without an exceeding amount of time. And then making sure that the thought of the bunkai doesn't all of a sudden alter the actual physical. So they're making up what it is. And then all of a sudden the kata is distorted and the bunkai is not quite something. I just think that, I don't know, it's the simplest answer I can give is play the music with them, even for them at first, make sure they know how to handle the instrument, and then time for the others.
Yeah. And I think that's why sometimes letting beginners just be with beginners isn't necessarily enough. They need to work with a more advanced person to understand some of those principles sometimes. But you have to put the time in. Any way you look at it, you got to get in the water and try swimming.
Mhm. So I guess uh, how I teach my people kata, as I was teaching a class this morning on white grain, is I like to tell them the history, where it comes from first. And then after that, just simple, the skeleton work of them knowing the way the kata works and just the basic moves of the kata. And then after that, the schematics. It's not just picking your feet up and down, and there is certain timing that you want to have when you're doing katas. It's not just simple step forward punch. Sometimes you step forward punch, drop to a cat stance, and back fist, and then step forward again. So those are sort of the schematics of the kata. So it's got that rhythm that you were talking about before. And then after that, I teach them bunkai. Bunkai is the actual applications of what the secret technique or your sensei is trying to pass on to his students from the former years, right? And then after that, there are lessons of, say you have you're having a confrontation with a larger person, and he grabs your wrist, and how are you going to beat his strength? Well, there are lessons in there that show you how to transfer your weight onto, say, you grab him in the wrist lock, and if you can't beat him, you just pick up one of your feet and drop the weight onto his arm. So I use that full range of application in order to be able to get the idea of kata along to my students so that they can rediscover the martial art by themselves. That's our goal, is to rediscover kata and rediscover martial arts. It's just because your sensei tells you that this is what you do, you're not going to be able to do it unless you rediscover what the secrets and the lessons of that kata are.
Thank
Right?
you.
And again, I would say, like somebody mentioned, it's time. Martial arts is not just going to spit everything out. That's why it takes a good martial artist 40 or 50 years to be a good martial artist. It's not just going to spit out its secrets and all its information to somebody who's going to be there for 2 years and go out in the street and do harm. Okay, so I think you need to sweat it out of yourself and out of the martial art in order to reach that level. And these are the things that I teach: history, moves, schematics, bunkai, and then the lessons.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sensei Pangia. That's a killer question or set of questions.
And Merry Christmas, Sensei Panecki, and thanks for being such a loyal supporter to the show. I'm always happy when I see your name pop on. Yeah, and
And same to you guys and your families.
Nice to see you.
So now we got Sensei Copeland who's got a question for us. He's going to pop on and take the square that Sensei Panacchia just had.
hey, well,
Dunking that square.
Hollywood Squares, baby.
Hollywood Squares.
Copeland Sensei Squares.
the fifth Beatle here on the show.
On Ringo, unmute yourself, Ringo. Yes.
How's that? We good?
Very
Beautiful.
good.
Fantastic. Wow, what a handsome looking crew.
Just got handsomer.
Well, come on, stop it.
You're blushing, Sensei. You're
You can tell, right? So it's great to see you guys, and I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you and your family, and to all the other people that are on the call, actually. And congratulations on making another year. This is fantastic. This is whoever thought, right? Did you know that that Motown started in a kitchen with, I don't know, 4 or 5 people sitting around the table with an idea, and now Motown is, right? So who would have thought? That's fantastic. Great job, guys. And all the people behind the scene, of course. Fantastic.
Well, it helps to have super fans and supporters like you, Sensei. Right? It's a community effort, and we're really lucky. People watch this show live, and a ton of them watch it on YouTube. So
Yeah,
must be something interesting about it.
It is good. You know what's funny is that when there's a micro and I can't see your faces, I can go to YouTube.
And I also get calls. What's up with the show? How come nobody's on tonight? I'm trying to log in and I can't get in.
I recognize that tone.
But you're not the only one, Sensei. There's at least like 5 or
Really, eh?
7 or 10 people, and that makes me happy too. That
Oh,
Well,
that's great.
To be fair, they've all been hitting the head a lot, like me.
Okay. Here, I go first, yes. So I have a question, and I would like everybody to chirp in on it just because I think we've all been affected or will be at some point, and it's regarding, you have students and as instructors, we give them what we say is everything, and we try to get them to a better place. But have you ever had students who you promote and will just forget about the number of years you've put into them, because obviously it's been numbers of years, but you have a students who you promote to black belt, and immediately after they receive their black belt, they leave the school. I mean, like immediately. It was like, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. And how did that make you feel when that happened? Hanshi Legacy, I would like you to go first because you've been around the longest. You must have had a couple of them.
he's had the most that did that to him.
Sometimes it's circumstances.
Yes.
They move or they, but I would have to say most of the time that happens, it's their goal. That's the goal they set out. Because remember, when you're a beginner, you think the black belt is like. I had people tell me last week that it was a younger person says, I thought the black belt was higher than your belt. Like, what's with the red belt? Like, he didn't know, right? So everybody on the comic books and on TV, they show the black belt to be the top level. So sometimes they set their goal, and within their small minds, they figured that that's as high as they're going to get, and they go on to something else, or the art spits them out on the street. is what happens. That they're they're not quite mentally, physically, or even spiritually equipped to go on. So uh, martial arts has their ways of getting rid of people that are not worthy martial artists. So I'll
But
leave the rest for somebody else.
but do you have an emotional attachment to them not being there any longer for whatever their circumstances are?
Uh, I want to give the right answer, but I'm going to tell you I'm used to it, and no, so I don't let myself go there anymore, like you did at first, because my school was small, and you're trying to build something, and now that we have like over 100 black belts, and um, after being there for 55 years, I've seen a lot of it, and so you know that a black belt is probably your biggest first. There's a yellow belt, then your black belt, right? Um, but again, it's just another level on the way to many more levels. So you have to turn yourself cold,
Mm.
stuff like that, so that you don't start getting depressed and you don't leave because you think it's you. It's not you, right? We're there to be servants, and that's your job. If they don't want to be served, let them make room for somebody who does. So don't take that personal.
Can I hear what Sensei Benson how he feels about that? Because he's probably one of the youngest of the instructors. I'm a guessing. I'm a
Yeah,
guessing.
I haven't been through that much. I've promoted or had promoted two black belts, and one of them left because he had to go take a job in New York, and I miss that guy a ton. I wish he walked into class every day. Someone else left for other reasons, and I don't think about him at all. Like it's shocking how quickly that tap of openness turned off, like very fast. And very fast because there was a club energetic that I didn't realize was better without them because of their need to leave. And so in my case, it's sort of the one who's still a part of the club, just not here. I miss that person. The one who's not, I think about them so rarely, it's weird.
Mm. Okay. Sensei Dauphin.
You know, Copeland Sensei, you said something to me that I've meditated on a lot over the years. You said many things to me, but you said to me once, you said, it's not if they quit, it's when they quit, and they're all going to quit. You said that to me.
I remember.
Yes. And you're right. Like whether it's death or whatever, whatever, whether it's like, I need to go chart my own path, I need to do my own thing. This is just part of the evolution of martial arts, right? It's designed to make you quit, right? Like the average person doesn't stay in martial arts. It's a gut-wrenching, humbling experience
Mm.
every time you walk in the dojo. And so for some people, they're just not going to deal with that like forever. You asked me, I can remember in the beginning, so I've taught martial arts I'm the second youngest and least experienced instructor on this call. But I've still had like 35 or 40 black belts that I've promoted over the last 36 years with Sense Legacy's blessing. And there's 20 that are active in my club. So that means that I remember in the beginning being really irritated. And I don't think I was wrong about that in the beginning because we put a fucking hell of a lot of effort into a person to help them to get to that level. Like, this is not like an insignificant amount of effort that a teacher puts into you to help you reach a black belt level. And at least on this group, there's no black belt contract that you sign in the beginning where we guarantee you a black belt on a given day. We sack up and show up just like they do, and we do extra show. Like when that person is struggling, hey, come in early, we'll work with you. Hey, stay a little later after class, we're going to work with you. So I don't think it's necessarily wrong to feel a little disappointed. Lately, I've been rewarded a couple times. Like I've had a couple of former black belts reach out to me. Like I had one person in particular reach out to me and say, Sensei, I'm really sorry. Like you put a lot of effort into me and you gave me a lot of benefit, and I've received that benefit. And as a father and a husband now, I realized I didn't leave the good dojo on good terms, and I
Oh,
kind of snubbed your efforts. And I said, look, man, I really appreciate this message. Thank you so much.
absolutely.
Please come by the dojo sometime with your kids. I'd love to meet them. It would be, and you're always welcome to come back. Thank you for making amends. Right? Um, but now I'm more like the Sensei Legacy philosophy. And, I've talked to Benson Sensei about this, and he kind of just laughs because I'm like, I have a saying, I only have time for the living. I don't have time for the dead because I can't mourn the person that walked away when there's 45 other people walking in the door who want my attention and want my help. And I got to live my life helping the people who walk through the door. And so, of course, there's some disappointment and some hurt feelings when they leave. And I think that's okay. We pour a lot of effort into them. But it's not if they quit, it's when they quit. And they're all going to quit. That's my
Appreciate that.
answer, Sensei. And thank you for the lesson that you gave me
Appreciate
of,
that. Thank
of
you.
many lessons that you've given me.
Thank you for being a good student. Sensei Suino?
Yeah, I think most of it has been said. Um, uh, I've shared this thought, I think, with most of you, certainly with Randy. When I'm struggling, I've developed this voice that asks me, okay, are you going to quit? And my answer is always no. Okay, then it's just fucking logistics, right? So, I mean, I've been irritated by people that quit when they make black belt, or they come to me and they say, I got to do this, this, and this. Oh, start a class and I'll teach it, blah, blah, blah. And then
Of
3 months later, right? Oh, sorry, sensei, right? I'm too busy, or I'm pregnant, or blah, 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 something, right? It's like, fuck all, right? Like I put all
That's
this
the
work into,
stupidest reason
yeah,
ever.
that's a stupid reason ever. And yeah, I have a lot of emotion about it. Maybe a lot less now. I'm much more in the Hachi Legacy camp. But just because somebody quits my dojo doesn't mean I'm going to quit. Therefore, I got to get back to work, right? Okay, they quit. Let me solve the problem. Okay, now I got somebody else teaching that class. Am I going to do my push-ups tomorrow? Fuck yes, right? And my mission is to run a better dojo tomorrow than I did today, to do more push-ups, to get better at all my martial arts, to be a better mentor to people. So as Randy said, right? You let the dead bury the dead. I got no time to mourn, right? I got to celebrate the people that
awesome.
are still at JMAC.
Sensei Suino, Sensei Dauphin shared that one with me, and so many non-martial artists have benefited from that wisdom. Like I've mentored so many people to that thinking of like, are you going to quit? They're like, well, no. And I'm like, so what are we talking about?
Hmm.
Talking about logistics.
And it solves so many fucking problems, right? Someone comes to you with a beef, right? Ah, tomorrow I want to meet and have a complaint. Okay, fine. Like I don't like it, but it's not going to stop me from doing martial arts or running my dojo, right?
What do you think, Sensei Copeland? Answer your own question.
Well, I think Hanchi Legacy said, like in the beginning, there is an emotional attachment because you're trying to build something, and those black belts are cornerstones that you're hoping to help hold the house up, keep everything nice and strong. But um, I've learned because I used to trying to evaluate. I think this person is going to make it. I think that person is going to quit. I think that one's going to make it. That one's going to quit. And it never really works out that way. I'm always off. So I've stopped doing that a long, long time ago. And what I've done is when I have a new person come in, they come in for an interview, they sit down, we chat, and find out what their goals are, give them a couple of evaluation classes, and then we sign them up. And I tell them, I tell my class who are now training, I said, when you decide to leave, come and talk to me the same way you did when you first started. Tell me you're leaving, say goodbye, and that way when we're walking down the street, you don't have to duck when you see me, because I will see you first before you see me for sure. And then everything is cool, because like we know they will leave, but they should leave the same way that they came in. Like, you just don't quit your job. You go in for an interview to get the job, and then you just decide one day you're not going back. You should send in a letter of resignation and whatever, 2 weeks notice, however they do that. Right. So I don't have that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I agree with what you're saying so much, Sensei Copeland.
Yeah, I don't have that attachment anymore. And like you said, the ones that are on the floor is the one that has my full attention. The ones that are not in the building, I hope whatever it is they're doing is beneficial, but I have to focus on the people that I'm looking at 100%.
I think it is beneficial, and I think they're still learning lessons about themselves, even as a quitter, even as a quitter.
Yeah.
They're always looking at themselves in the mirror going,
I'm a quitter.
yeah, I once was a black belt.
Mm.
I once was a black belt, and now I'm not. Since Copeland, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give a bit of a story. 4 years ago, when Sean has been bugging me for decades to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then so 4 years ago, Robert was able to like talk me into doing it. And we went to this club and it wasn't great. I'm sorry, it wasn't great. But I trained there for 3 months. I did all my classes. I tried everything. And then I decided I really like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I just don't like this club and I don't like this instructor. I did what you said. The younger guys were all nervous because a bunch of them said, yeah, we want to go to another place too. I said, well, I'm going to go in and talk to the coach. And the one guy said, well, I'm going to text him and tell him I'm not coming back. And I was like, okay, well, you're a loser. But I went in and I was in my street clothes and the coach said, hey, what's going on? How come you're not getting changed? I said, want to talk to you? Probably not coming back. Well, what's going on? I said, the club for me is just not the way. I've been in martial arts for a long time, and this is just not the way I can learn. It's not, oh, are you quitting BJJ? I said, no, I'm just going to find a club where I can learn a little better. The guy stood up and gave me a hug. I've seen him a number of times now. And to your point,
yeah.
Hey, how you doing? Like, hey, Randy, are you still training? Gives me a hug. How you doing? What's your rank now? Everything good?
Yeah.
Because I at least gave him the respect to say thank you for what you did for me and look him in the eye. Like, what's he going to do? Beat me up?
Yeah.
I'm still going to quit. Even if he beats me up, I'm still going to quit. So his club.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. It's good if people come back and say, I'm leaving and this is why.
Yeah. 100%.
You said something, Sensei Dauphin. I can't remember exactly, but it stimulated an idea. In my life, there's two types of people who give you that sort of wistful, empty look. People who used to ride motorbikes and people who used to do martial arts. Whenever I'm carrying my helmet, some dude would be like, you ride? I'm like, yeah, you. And they're like, I used to. And they get really sad really fast. And when I have my karate bag or my BJJ bag, they're like, oh, you train? I'm like, yeah, you. And they're like, I did once. And you just see an emptiness. And it's the same thing in both worlds.
Love it.
Gentlemen, I'd like to wish you guys a nice holiday. And like always, if you need me, you call me. I'm there. And I love you most. I love you guys to the moon and back, as they say. Have a great holiday season. And God bless you all.
We love you too, Sensei.
Moon and back, Sensei.
Take care.
See you soon.
You bet.
For the folks watching at home, we have a special moment because when I don't forget, at the end of every show, I read out the names of people who help run this show. They're part of the show. And he's been on the show before, but we get to talk right now with Stavros Stavroulias, who's got a question for us. But I always want to make sure you all there watching know that he's one of the people who helps with all of this. Stavros, what's going on?
All right, can you hear me?
Yes,
We
sir.
can hear you.
Okay, very good. Hi, everyone. Thanks for that intro, Sensei Benson. That's very kind. Just a small cog in the machine, but happy to help out. Yeah, my question is just as we're nearing the end of the year and, doing a lot of reflection. I'm always doing a lot of reflection this time of year, and I asked Sensei Dauphin this a little bit in class the other day, but I'm curious to know everybody else and Sensei Dauphin again. what was your biggest kind of thing that you're proud of over the past year in your martial arts, and what's something that you're looking forward to going into next year when you're looking ahead to next year in your martial arts? So, Hanshi, maybe we'll start with you. What's something that you were really proud of over the past year and something that you're looking forward to?
I would have to say that the latest big thing that I was proud of was 35 years ago when I went to learn the white crane from my sensei. I promised him that I would pass the white crane on through Canada as much as I could, and I'm still doing it 35 years later. And we just had a big grading, our annual black belt grading there last week or so. And I looked out and saw all the people that trained white crane with me and everything. And it's the moment stopped for a second. I just looked at everything, and then that realization came that I was keeping my word. So that's it. It's just a flash, but I'll never forget that promise. And until they lay me down, I'm going to keep doing it.
That's awesome. Thank you. Is there something that you're looking forward to for next year when you're thinking about your martial arts?
Just being there. Just keep going. I'm getting older, and sometimes I wonder if I should be retiring or not, because like I'm 80. But there's going to be a time where I can't pick my feet up or something. Hopefully, it doesn't happen. But I just want to be there.
I'll pick them up for you, Sensei, when you can't, pal.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you, Hanshi. Sensei Suino, how about you? What is something you were proud of over the past year and something you're looking forward to?
So much. 2025 has been an amazing year. Lots of accomplishments. I'll just stick kind of with my institution, with JMAC. What we were able to do this year was embark on a renovation project. We're expanding, so we'll be bigger than we've ever been. We changed our schedule to give some of the younger black belts more teaching time and allow me to move up and kind of teach the higher level classes almost exclusively. We have launched a pilot program in BJJ, which is something that I've been resisting but thinking about for a long time. So on that front, and I say me or JMAC, but listen, it's a joint effort, including folks on this call are big contributors to that. I had this idea to start a dojo back in 2006, and it's got a life of its own now. I'm just super proud to be a part of that and to be kind of the shepherd, right, that keeps this thing growing. And the second half of the question is just the continuation of that. I hope by mid-January we'll have our renovation complete. We'll have taken all the bugs out of the new class schedule, and we'll actually have our classes in BJJ underway with an outside mentor. Future is filled with hard work, great training, and I hope all of you will come to JMAC as many times as possible next year. Help make it even more fun.
That's very exciting. I can't wait to see I've been seeing some photos online of the expansion as it's going on. It's been pretty cool to see. I'm excited to see it in person whenever we can.
Until you do the mat drills on the new lengthy mat, we'll kill you. We'll kill you.
The main dojo he just added was the square footage that he added is the same size as the Kitchener dojo.
Okay.
That's what he added to the main dojo.
That's very exciting. Awesome. Sensei Dauphin, how about you? Something you are proud of over the past year, something that you're excited for next year?
So you asked me the question, Stavros, in class the other night, and I've had time to think about it a little more since then. So nothing happens overnight, and that's a message I would like to give to people. And then sometimes things just all of a sudden happen, right? So I've always been proud to go to international events, Capital Conquest, different things like this, right? Um, but two things that happened this year is got my first European teaching assignment since Swino as well. Really nice to go to Baden, Austria, and step on the mat and actually be well received when you stepped on the mat. Like go on the mat, and I wasn't on the I never had less than like 25 or 30 people on the mat. So that's, I'm kind of proud of that you toil away and you work away and then it gets recognized. This year, going to Capital Conquest with Sense Legacy, um, going to the Canadian Black Belt Hall of Fame with Sense Legacy. I like walking in and now we're recognized. Like we walk in the room and like having a guy like Jean-Yves Thériault walk up to you and give you a hug and say, "Hey, mon ami, what's going on?" And like it's a simple thing, but it takes a lot of work over a long amount of time to be recognized by these apex people like that, right? So I'm really proud of that, and doing it very honestly. Not like how have I done that? I've done it by doing Mukso Jigiden Ishinryu Iaido the way I was taught it. I've done it by doing Legacy Shorin-ryu honestly the way I've been taught it. And it's nice to be recognized for those things. Um, Listen, what am I looking forward to next year, Stavros? Much of the same, but also I'm looking forward to the Kitchener Dojo growing more. I'm looking forward to taking steps to expand and have a bigger dojo. Uh, I'm looking forward to starting new programs like BJJ next year. And honestly, at the brass tacks, I'm just looking forward every time that I turn the key and I hear the lock go click and I walk into the room and I know the people that are coming, like yourself, like Dridi, like Sangeetha, like Raheel, like Christine, like the Black Belts. I know these people are coming. I can't not look forward to that. I can't not look forward to just spending that time with those people and do this thing that we all like to do together. It's just awesome. Like 2026 I know it's going to be better than 2025 because of you and the people that come. I know it.
Yeah. Thank you, Sensei. That means a lot. I appreciate that. But yeah, thank you. Sensei Benson, how about you? You're the last one. Something you were proud of over the past year and something that you're looking forward to.
I love this question. I asked it of my students the other night. So, short-haired minds think alike. When it comes to what I'm proud of, it's just, the club underwent a big shift this year. And like most years, I had to be away a fair bit. Club's still going, students are still going, I'm still going. So, on some level, I created an environment years ago, even with just one student, where even if I go away, there's a club. And that means the world to me because I wouldn't be able to run a club if that weren't the case. So that's always been a part of my ethos and the growth. And so I'm just really proud that when I go away, those classes are still running and those people are still training. And on a personal level, when I go away, I train. I find people to train with in Calgary, in LA. I was in France for a funeral, found classes to go to. So on a personal level, I know that I got the grind, but it's nice to impart that. As for next year, honestly, Stavros, it's just more. Like I just want to train more. I want to teach more. I want to see you all more. You know, it's all working, and I just want to expand what's working. And on a very specific level, more students, do more promotions within our club at a time when I know I'm not going away. I can be there consistently and just do more advertising and more online. But yeah, just more of what I'm proud of this year.
Awesome.
What about you, Stav? Answer your own question. What are you proud of from this year and what are you looking forward to next year?
I was thinking about this when I asked the question because I know it often gets turned back on the asker. So I was thinking, okay, how am I going to answer this question? And there's a number of things that I'm proud of, I think, of myself. But I think the thing that when I thought about it, what I'm the most proud of, honestly, is not necessarily of myself, but as my dad. My dad got his green belts a couple weeks ago. And when I was sitting watching him doing his katas, I just found myself getting super emotional. I was just watching him and he was just trying so hard and he's been trying so hard. And I don't think it's very often that you get to see your parents doing something totally new that they don't know, they're uncomfortable, and something that I actually know more about like more about karate than he does. And so he's coming to ask me for advice, coming to ask me questions, and it's been really, I feel like it's been like a privilege almost to kind of get the that side of getting to have that relationship with my father and getting to help him with something when for so long it's been him helping me through life, him helping me with things. So I just found myself getting super emotional watching him do his kata at the grading, and super proud of him for getting his green belt. And he's super excited to be learning his new kata and be going towards his purple belt. So yeah, I think that's for me the thing that I'm the most proud of was just getting to watch him get his green belt tied on, getting to watch him do his katas. I was really proud of that. Um, and yeah, when I look forward to next year, it's a lot of what you all have said too. Is just kind of more of the same, kind of continuing to train. Yeah, just kind of training my butt off and just getting in the dojo more. And yeah, really looking forward to that. And yeah, just really excited.
Next year is going to be a big year for you, Stavros.
We'll
Yeah.
see. Hopefully, that's the goal. So,
You'll have been a first Q for over a year by this time next year. So next summer, be preparing yourself to. You and Christine will be driving down the road to Sense Legacy to do your private lessons, and I'm looking forward to that for you because you deserve that opportunity.
thank you. That's definitely on my mind. I'm trying not to think about it too much and just keep training, just keep doing what you're doing, and that'll come. But it's in the back. Just I know it's there.
Well, you're a humble person, and it's good you didn't say it. You allowed me to say it for you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you all.
Nice to see you, Stavros. I got a quick one before we do our round the horn. And
Listen, Sean, before we do that, I just want to say, like, that guy is like such a good human being. Like, I met him like just so randomly during the pandemic. He and I volunteered to go to residence and walk around and knock on doors to see what kids were like held up in the rooms that we didn't know who were there. And some kids were crying, like I've booked 5 flights and they've all been canceled and I just want to get home. And he said to me, we started talking, he's like, "Hey, when the pandemic's over, I'm gonna come check out your dojo." When I went with him, he had a beard like down to here, giant mop of hair. And then one day I'm standing outside the dojo and there's this guy with the University of Waterloo t-shirt, like training away. And I walked in and said, "Hey, I work at the university." He's like, "Yeah, I know who you are." I'm like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, we were in housing together." Like, he's just an awesome guy. His dad is an awesome guy. His wife is an awesome person. Like, they're just awesome people to have in Legacy Charter. I'm so happy. They go to JMAC all the time, all of them. Yeah. Love those people.
love that family. The question's real simple. I'll start with you, Sensei Dauphin. I'm seeing this as a motivating kind of question, not a negative. What's something in your art that you think, and I don't mean Legacy Shorin-ryu, I mean karate, needs to be better in 2026, like worldwide, in terms of how people perceive it too? Like what is an exciting thing that can grow and change for it, and maybe needs to?
If I'm okay, I'll just say, like, I think it's important today with the access to information that we have that people don't constrain themselves to a narrow path of thinking, right? And what I mean by that is, if I'm going to explain it in a karate way, which is everything is a punch or a kick, right? Like, that's never been the way in Legacy Shorin-ryu, but when I see that in karate, it's like you ask people about a bunkai and a kata, and everything becomes like a punch or a kick. And sometimes you're looking at it going, it's not a punch or a kick. It's not like that's a joint manipulation. That's actually like while we're not as good at it, that's actually a judo throw. Like that's actually like that move that you're doing is actually a throw to take somebody down. You know, you're actually like, why do you do hikite so much and never use it in your bunkai, right? Like you pull your hand back more than any other thing that you do in karate. But if you ask somebody, why are you pulling your hand back? They won't generally give you good answers to why they're pulling their hand back to their hip. Um, so in my mind, you're asking that question. I hope people can get the blinders off and appreciate like the totality, even if you don't agree. Like it's okay. Like if somebody comes in and says, I think this move in this kata is this way, and I'm like, I think that's bullshit. I don't agree with that. I think that's okay. Like that's how martial arts is gonna continue to grow and expand. We all have opinions, educated opinions from training. You can only temper those opinions when you bump into other people who have different opinions that maybe change your thinking about things. And this show is a really prime example of that, right? Like I think all of us have experienced shifts in the way that we think when other quality martial artists come on and they've trained their entire life and they drop some pearl of wisdom in where we all go, "Oh man, I never thought about it like that. Maybe I should go think about that." So I guess that's my answer to your question, Sean, is take the blinders off and just don't abandon anything you believe or you're doing, but be open to more ideas and different things.
Thanks, Sensei. I'm really glad I asked. Sensei Suino, what do you think?
You know, I was kind of going the same direction, but across martial arts. You know, if I look at martial arts as a bigger world, um, I wish more people, especially people that know a lot in a martial art or two martial arts, would give up this idea that, oh, this is better than that, or X, Y, and Z martial art is pure bullshit and has no redeeming qualities. Clearly, there are some so far down the spectrum that we can almost abandon them, but there's so much to be gained from going, oh, okay, you know, I don't think this martial art is really great, but let me figure out, you know, like Bruce Lee said, absorb what is useful. Um, Instead of having the knee-jerk reaction, oh, that sucks, right? Always negative. It would be great if experienced martial artists could go, oh, what can I learn? And I guess as Randy said, that attitude for me really comes out of the last 5 years of doing this show together and meeting all these people who most of whom I don't agree 100% with, but some of whom I've learned to agree with somewhat. I've got a lot more open-minded about listening to them and saying, well, why does that work for them? What are they thinking here? What's their philosophy? So across martial arts, for me, the summary is martial arts would be better if people were more open-minded to the benefits of other martial arts and thinking about their own in a more broad-minded way.
There are still some martial arts that have no redeeming qualities.
Why am I completely unsurprised by that comment?
I want to answer before Hanshi. I don't want to have the last word on karate. You know, this is actually like I'm thinking in what I consider to be a practical thing is I just think karate could use a better social media campaign. You know, BJJ's run the gamut on it, and I can't scroll through my phone without seeing a highly effective example in 30 seconds to a minute of a good move and a way you can adapt it that works. And I think karate could use more of that, where the higher level practitioners who are doing real fighting are showing real stuff, and then there's not as much McDojo stuff and it'll outweigh it over time. And it's literally just Instagram and TikTok and shit. And, you know, maybe I'm the one who should be doing more of it because I'm thinking of it. But I do think that a lot of people just don't know that real fighting and what you said about all those Bunkai Sensei Ofen lives in a place that they don't think it lives because of certain Olympic rule sets or because of some bad videos. So I think it needs a better social media campaign for 2026. Hanshi, what about you?
Well, I just have like something to say. As some of you will realize what I'm saying is head down, nose to the grindstone. Time will surrender more. That's it.
Thanks, Hanshi.
Great lesson. Yeah.
I think that's a nice, hey, everybody. We want to thank Robert Shlumsky, Justin Shea, Andrei Sedashev, Josh Kitchens, Christiana Landolt, Drita Giuliani, Stavros Stavroulias, and Emily Ruth Driscoll for helping behind the scenes. Let's say our goodnight. Hanshi, what do you want to say to everybody?
Have a good season, holiday season, and I'll see you all early next year.
Thanks, Hanshi. Sensei Suino?
Happy holidays, everybody. Stay safe. Keep training hard. Don't take too many days off, but take some days off. And looking forward to seeing all you guys early in the new year.
Sensei Dauphin?
I'm just gonna do a shameless plug. Please, January 17th, if you're here in the Kitchener-Waterloo area or not, come to the practical fighting seminar. And you don't have to be a fighter to come to it. It's a seminar, which means we're trying to build you in the direction of becoming a fighter, right? So come, you do some amazing stand-up with Sensei Legacy. You're gonna do some great takedowns and groundwork with Sensei Suino. And then I'm gonna help you be safe and apply that training with people. And listen, the application part, wave people off if you don't feel comfortable, do every other round. But if you're afraid, please come. Like, and if you have questions, reach out to one of us. You'll love it. Everybody loves it when they come to it. And then I see Sensei Knispel's on the call. His dad said that the Matsumoto Challenge restored his faith in karate tournaments. And we have that coming up in February 14th, Valentine's Day. Bring your lover. Get in the ring with them. Get in the ring with them and battle it out. Okay. But looking forward to us doing our karate tournament again. And so if you have questions about those things, please reach out. Want to see everybody possible there. That's a great martial artist because we need to transfer this virtual thing we do, which is amazing, to an actual shake your hand, grab onto your lapel, block your fist, and punch you back. Like we need to do that shit in real time, not virtually. So Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. And we're gonna see you in 2026, bigger and better than ever.
Thanks, Sensei. I just want to say how honored I am to be your friends and your student, to everybody who's hosting with me, and to everybody out there. I love you for being here. I love you for being part of this journey with all of us. And I know I'm getting a little older because when I was younger, I'd be like, have a kick-ass holiday or fucking light it up. And honestly, be safe out there. We'll see you in the new year.
See everybody.
Cheers, everybody.